I thought I was over him until he walked through the front door and said my name like he still remembered exactly how to ruin me. It was supposed to be a normal Friday night at Noah's house. Pizza, cheap beer, probably 3 hours of him yelling at the TV because his team kept making stupid decisions. That was our routine. It had been our routine since college, back when we both had terrible haircuts and thought staying up until 3 a.m. counted as a personality. I was sitting on the Carter family couch with one leg tucked under me, scrolling through delivery options while Noah searched for a controller under the cushions. "If you pick pineapple again, I'm kicking you out." I didn't look up. "Your mom likes pineapple. My mom also likes true crime podcasts and oat milk. Her judgment is questionable." I laughed, and for a second, everything felt easy. Familiar. Safe. Then the front door opened. Noah froze first. Not dramatically, just enough that I noticed. Heavy footsteps crossed the entryway. A suitcase will bumped against the floor. Then a voice came from behind us, low and tired and way too familiar. "Please tell me someone in this house still knows how to order real pizza." My thumb stopped moving on my phone. My stomach dropped so hard it felt stupid. Noah shot up from the couch. "Logan." I turned before I could stop myself. And there he was. Logan Carter. Noah's older brother. The guy I had spent half my teenage years pretending not to stare at. The guy who left for Seattle 4 years ago and somehow took all my embarrassing feelings with him. Or at least I thought he did. He stood in the doorway wearing a dark jacket, jeans, and that same almost smile that made him look like he knew something before everyone else did. He looked older now. Not in a bad way. Just more solid. More real. Like the boy I remembered had come back as someone I had no business noticing. Noah practically tackled him. Logan laughed, dropping his bag just in time to hug him back. I stayed on the couch like my legs had forgotten their job. This was fine. Totally fine. People came home. Brothers visited. Old crushes returned from the dead. Normal stuff. Logan's eyes lifted over Noah's shoulder. They landed on me. And for one weird second, the room got quieter. Evan Miller. My name sounded different in his voice now. Not like a kid from his brother's friend group. Not like someone he used to drive home after basketball games. Just me. I forced myself to stand. "Logan." "Great." "Amazing." One word, and I already sounded like I'd been hit with a shovel. His smile changed a little. Softer, maybe. "You got taller." Noah pulled back and scoffed. "He's been the same height for like 6 years. Let me have my moment." Logan's eyes flicked back to me. Last time I saw him, he was stealing fries from my car and pretending he wasn't scared of horror movies. Heat climbed up my neck. I wasn't scared. Noah laughed too fast. "You made us keep the hallway light on." "That was for safety." Logan's gaze stayed on me a second longer than it needed to. "Sure." I looked away first. Obviously. Because apparently 4 years of distance had done nothing for my ability to act normal around him. Noah grabbed Logan's suitcase and started talking a mile a minute. "Why didn't you call? How long are you staying? Does Mom know?" Logan answered, but I barely heard any of it. I was too busy noticing dumb things. The rain on his jacket. The tired shadow under his eyes. The way his voice had gotten lower. The way he filled the hallway like he belonged there and didn't at the same time. I told myself it meant nothing. He was Noah's brother. That was all. He had always been kind to me. He probably remembered everyone. He probably looked at everyone like that. Then Logan stepped farther into the room. Close enough that I caught the faint smell of cold air and cedar from his jacket. "Good to see you, Evan." Not guys. Not man. Evan. My chest tightened before I could stop it. "Yeah, I managed." "You too." Noah glanced between us, completely unaware of the fact that I was internally falling apart on his parents' living room rug. "Cool. Family reunion over." Evan's ordering pizza. Logan dropped onto the armchair across from me. "Please tell me he still picks pineapple just to start fights." I stared down at my phone, pretending to read the menu. Maybe I've matured. Logan leaned back, eyes still on me. "Have you?" I should have had a comeback. Something easy. Something normal. Instead, I looked up, and he was watching me like he actually wanted the answer. For a second, neither of us moved. Then Noah threw a pillow at my head and ruined whatever that was. Everyone laughed. I laughed too. A second late. Too forced. Too aware. Because Logan Carter was home. And the worst part was, the second he looked at me, I knew the old feeling hadn't disappeared. It had just been waiting. Logan stayed for dinner, which should not have been a problem. He was Noah's brother. This was Noah's house. Technically, I was the one who did not belong there. But somehow, Sitting across from him at the kitchen table felt like being trapped under a spotlight nobody else could see. Noah's mom hugged him twice, asked if he had eaten enough in Seattle, then immediately started reheating leftovers like he had returned from war instead of a 4-hour flight and a long drive. Noah kept talking over everyone, bouncing between stories I had already heard and questions Logan barely had time to answer. I tried to focus on my plate. That was safer. Plates did not have dark eyes or remember embarrassing things from years ago. Evan works at that bookstore downtown now, Noah announced suddenly, like he was presenting me at an auction. I looked up too fast. Part-time. Logan's fork paused halfway to his mouth. The one near Maple Street. Yeah. You always liked that place. My chest did that annoying tight thing again. I shrugged like it did not matter. You remember that? Logan looked at me over the rim of his glass. You used to disappear there whenever Noah got too loud. Noah pointed his breadstick at him. Rude. Accurate. Logan smiled, but his eyes came back to me. You had that beat-up sketchbook too. Black cover. You carried it everywhere. I forgot how to swallow for a second. That sketchbook had been mine for one summer. One stupid summer when I used to sit on the Carter back porch drawing badly and pretending I was not waiting for Logan to come outside. I cannot believe you remember that. My voice came out quieter than I meant it to. Logan's expression shifted. Not much. Just enough. I remember a lot. The table went on around us. Noah complaining about work. His mom asking Logan if he was staying in his old room. Dishes clinking. The fridge humming. Normal family noise. But that one sentence stayed between us like it had been set down on the table with the food. I told myself he meant nothing by it. Some people just had good memories. Some people remembered old sketchbooks and coffee orders and the exact way to make your stomach flip without even trying. After dinner, Noah dragged Logan into the living room to look at something on his phone. I helped clear plates because I needed something to do with my hands. I was rinsing glasses at the sink when Logan appeared beside me with a stack of bowls. Careful. My mom will adopt you if you keep doing chores. I glanced over. Too late. She already likes me better than Noah. Low bar. I laughed before I could stop myself. Logan smiled at the sound, and that made it worse. He set the bowls down, close enough that his sleeve brushed my arm. Not a big thing. Barely anything. Still, every nerve in my body noticed. I reached for the same glass he did. Our fingers bumped under the warm tap water. It was quick. Accidental. Completely innocent. But neither of us moved right away. His knuckles rested against mine, slick with soap and water, and the kitchen seemed to shrink around that tiny point of contact. Logan looked down at our hands. Then at me. My pulse jumped so hard I almost dropped the glass. Sorry. I muttered, pulling back first. You are still jumpy. There was no teasing in his voice this time. That was the problem. I dried my hands on a towel that suddenly felt very interesting. I am not jumpy. Logan leaned one hip against the counter. You used to get like that when you were nervous. I forced a laugh. You have known me for what, 10 minutes tonight? Evan. Just my name again. Low. Careful. Like he was trying not to scare me off. I looked at him. Bad idea. He was standing too close, but not close enough to call it anything. His face was calm, but his eyes were not. I am not 16 anymore, I said. I meant it as a joke. It did not land like one. Logan's gaze held mine a second too long. No, he murmured. You are definitely not. My breath caught. From the living room, Noah yelled for us to hurry up before the game started. The sound snapped the moment in half. Logan stepped back first this time, jaw tightening like he had just realized where we were. Who was in the next room? Who I was to him. I dried the same clean spot on the counter for way too long. Later, when I grabbed my jacket to leave, I told myself the kitchen thing was nothing. A hand bump. A weird pause. A sentence I probably misunderstood. Then I opened the front door, and Logan followed me onto the porch before I could make it down the steps. Logan followed me onto the porch like it was the most normal thing in the world, and somehow that made it worse. The air outside was cold enough to make me pull my jacket tighter, but I still felt too warm under my collar. Behind us, Noah was yelling at the TV, completely unaware that his older brother had just turned my nervous system into a disaster. I reached the bottom step before Logan spoke. You walking home? I turned around. It is like 8 blocks. That is not an answer. He stood under the porch light with his hands in his jacket pockets, shoulders relaxed, face unreadable. Rain from earlier still clung to the edges of the steps, making everything shine. I walk it all the time. Logan looked past me toward the dark street. At night. I am 24, Logan. I know. He came down one step. That does not mean I have to like it. That was the kind of sentence that sounded normal until it hit the wrong part of your chest. I laughed because I needed it to be a joke. What? Are you going full protective older brother now? The second I said it, I regretted it. Logan did not laugh. Not even a little. He just looked at me, and the silence after my joke stretched way too long. My stomach tightened. I mean Noah's older brother, I added stupidly. Obviously, his jaw moved once, like he was holding something back. Right. One word. Flat. Careful. Dangerous. I looked away first, because apparently that was my hobby now. I can get home fine. Let me drive you. You just got here. And Noah will make it weird. Logan glanced toward the living room window, where blue TV light flashed over the curtains. Noah makes everything weird. I hated that I smiled. He noticed. Of course he did. The corner of his mouth lifted, but his eyes stayed serious. Come on. 2 minutes. I should have said no. I knew that. Getting into his car alone, after the kitchen, after the porch, after everything I was pretending not to feel, was a terrible idea. So naturally, I said, fine. But only because your driveway is weirdly slippery and I do not feel like dying for pride. Smart. Do not sound surprised. Logan grabbed his keys from the hook inside, told Noah he was driving me home, and Noah yelled, cute. Do not kidnap him. I froze with one hand on the door. Logan paused too. Just half a second. Then Noah added, he owes me $20. The moment broke, but not fully. Not for me. In Logan's truck, the heater kicked on slow. The seats smelled like leather, rain, and something clean I could not place. I buckled in and stared forward like the windshield contained answers. Logan backed out of the driveway, one hand on the wheel, the other resting near the gear shift. Too close. Not touching. Close enough to make me aware of my own hand on my knee. For the first block, neither of us spoke. The tires hissed over wet pavement. A dog barked somewhere behind a fence. Normal neighborhood sounds. Completely normal. My heart did not get the message. Then Logan reached toward the console and picked up a coffee cup. Here. I blinked at it. What is that? Peppermint mocha. Noah said you still drink dessert pretending to be coffee. I took it before thinking. It was warm. Still full. You got this for me. Stopped on the way into town. Was not sure if you still liked it. My throat went dry. That was not normal. That was not brother of my best friend normal. You bought me coffee before you even knew I would be there? Logan kept his eyes on the road. I hoped you would be. There it was. No room to twist it into nothing. No safe place to put it. My fingers tightened around the cup, heat pressing into my palms. I wanted to make a joke. I wanted to laugh and call him weird and climb out of the truck at the next stop sign. Instead, I just sat there, breathing like an idiot. Logan glanced over once. Too much. I should have said yes. I should have saved us both. But the truth slipped out small and quiet. I do not know. He nodded like that answer mattered. Like he would not push past it. When we pulled up in front of my apartment, he did not unlock the doors right away. He just looked at me, rain-streaked streetlight cutting across his face. Evan. My name again. My chest tightened. Yeah. His hand moved, slow, and for one insane second I thought he might touch me. He did not. He only reached toward my shoulder and picked off a tiny white thread from my jacket collar. His fingers brushed the side of my neck by accident. Maybe. Neither of us moved. The truck went painfully quiet. Then he held the thread up between us, voice low. You had something there. I nodded, even though I could barely think. Thanks. His hand dropped, but his eyes stayed on mine. Good night, Evan. I got out of the truck too fast. Not rude fast. Survival fast. I made it to my apartment door before I looked back. Logan was still parked there, waiting until I got inside. Like he used to. Like he had never stopped knowing how to make small things feel impossible to ignore. And that was the first night I realized I could not keep blaming this on an old crush. By Monday afternoon, I had almost convinced myself I was being dramatic. Almost. Then Logan walked into the bookstore during my shift with a coffee in one hand and a cardboard box tucked under his arm, like he had every right to show up in the middle of my carefully planned avoidance. I was behind the counter, pricing a stack of used paperbacks, when the bell above the door rang. I looked up, ready to say the usual customer greeting, and immediately forgot English. Logan smiled like he knew. Hey. I stared at the coffee. You have got to stop doing that. Doing what? Appearing. His mouth twitched. In public. Near me. I regretted it the second it came out. Logan stepped closer to the counter, not too close, but enough that I noticed the clean smell of his jacket again. I can leave. That should have sounded teasing. It did not. I looked down at the books because his face was a problem. I did not say that. The air changed a little. Softened. He set the coffee on the counter between us. Peppermint mocha. Extra whip. Noah said you still drink coffee like a sixth grader. I picked it up before my pride could stop me. Noah talks too much. He does. Logan glanced around the shop. This place still smells the same. Dust and financial instability? Books and rain. I hated that answer. It was too good. Too Logan. He wandered through the aisles while I tried to keep working, but every few seconds I caught him looking over the top of a shelf. Not staring exactly. Just checking. Like he wanted to know where I was. Like my presence mattered in a room full of strangers. Around 5, the shop emptied out, leaving only the soft buzz of the lights and the old heater clicking near the back wall. I was carrying a stack of hardcovers toward the local history section when one slipped. Logan caught it before it hit the floor. Of course he did. His hand closed over mine around the spine of the book. For 1 second, we were both holding it. Same book. Same breath. Too close between the shelves. Nice save, I managed. Logan did not let go right away. His thumb rested against the side of my hand, warm through the thin paper dust on my skin. You always drop things when you are nervous? I should have pulled away. I did not. You always assume you are the reason? His eyes lifted to mine. There was the faintest smile there, but it did not reach his voice. Am I? The question landed so hard my chest tightened. No joke. No easy exit. Just Logan, standing close enough that I could see the tiny crease between his brows, waiting like my answer mattered more than it should. I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. Then I did the worst possible thing. I looked down at his hand still covering mine. He noticed. His grip loosened, but he still did not move. Evan. The way he said my name made the aisle feel smaller. I swallowed. This is a bad idea. Logan's eyes searched my face. I know. Not I know, and that is why we stop. Not I know, forget it. Just I know. Like he had been thinking the same thing and still walked into the store anyway. My pulse was ridiculous. The space between us was barely anything, but it felt like a line drawn right down the middle of my life. Noah on one side, Logan on the other, and me, standing there with my hand still under his like an idiot who wanted the wrong thing. Logan looked at my mouth for half a second, maybe less, long enough to ruin me. I stopped breathing. He leaned in just a little. Not enough to touch. Not enough to say he had done anything. But enough that every part of me went still. Then the bell above the door rang. We snapped apart so fast the book nearly fell again. Evan. Mrs. Patterson from the bakery stepped inside, shaking rain from her umbrella. You still open? I turned toward her like I had been caught stealing. Yeah. Yes. We are open. My voice sounded too high. Logan looked away, jaw tight, one hand rubbing the back of his neck. Mrs. Patterson glanced between us with the kind of small-town curiosity that should be illegal. Oh, sorry. Did I interrupt something? My heart climbed into my throat. No, Logan answered at the same time. Nothing. That made it worse. She smiled like she did not believe either of us and wandered toward the cookbooks. I busied myself with the register even though nobody was buying anything. Logan stayed near the aisle for another minute, then came to the counter. The coffee sat untouched beside my elbow. I should go. I nodded too fast. Yeah, probably. He looked like he wanted to say something else. I wanted him to. I was terrified he would. Instead, he tapped the box on the counter. Old books from my dad's garage. Thought you might want them. Thanks. Evan. I forced myself to look up. Logan's expression was careful now. Too careful. I did not come here for the books. My stomach dropped. Before I could answer, Mrs. Patterson called from the back, asking if we had any pie cookbooks. Logan stepped away first. And just like that, the almost between us stayed exactly that. Almost. By the next night, I had developed a very mature plan. Avoid Logan Carter until my brain started working again. It lasted about 22 hours. Noah ruined it with one text. Mom is making tacos. Get over here before Logan eats everything. I stared at the message in the break room at work like it was a threat. Then another bubble appeared. Also, do not be weird. You have been weird. That one made my stomach drop. I typed, I am working late. Before I could send it, Noah called. Of course he did. Why are you dodging us? His voice came through loud, with kitchen noise behind him. I am not dodging. You ignored 3 memes today. Maybe they were bad memes. My memes are art. I rubbed a hand over my face. I am tired. There was a short pause. Too short to be casual. Is this about Logan? Every muscle in my body locked up. What? He came by the bookstore yesterday, right? He mentioned it. I closed my eyes. Great. Amazing. Perfect. He dropped off books. Yeah. And then came home acting weird. My pulse started picking up. Logan always acts weird. No, Logan acts emotionally constipated. Different thing. I almost laughed. Almost. Noah lowered his voice, and that was somehow worse. Did something happen between you two? For one terrifying second, I was back in that aisle. Logan's hand over mine, his eyes dropping for half a second. I did not come here for the books. My throat went dry. No, the lie came out fast. Too fast. Noah did not answer right away. In the silence, I heard someone in the background say his name. Logan. Low and close. Then Noah came back on. Just come over, okay? Mom keeps asking about you. That was the unfair part. Mrs. Carter had basically fed me through college. Saying no to her felt like kicking a golden retriever. So I went. I told myself I was going because of tacos. Because of Noah. Because normal people did normal things and did not rearrange their lives around a hand touch in a bookstore. The second I stepped into the Carter kitchen, I knew normal was not happening. Logan was at the counter cutting limes, sleeves pushed to his forearms, listening to Noah's mom explain something about the neighbors. He looked up when I walked in. Just one glance. But it hit me straight in the chest. His hand paused on the knife. Mine tightened around the strap of my jacket. Noah noticed. I saw it happen. His eyes moved from me to Logan, then back to me. Okay, he muttered. That was weird. I pretended not to hear. Mrs. Carter hugged me, handed me a plate, and immediately told me I looked too skinny. Noah made a joke. Logan did not. He just slid the bowl of limes toward me without being asked. You still put too much on everything. I looked at the bowl, then at him. It is called having taste. His mouth softened. Sure. Across the counter, Noah stopped chewing. Since when do you know how much lime Evan uses? The kitchen went quiet in that tiny, dangerous way. Not silent, just aware. Mrs. Carter was still moving around by the stove, humming to herself. But between the 3 of us, something shifted. Logan picked up his beer, calm on the outside. He has been eating dinner here since he was 18. Yeah, Noah said slowly. But you have not. My stomach tightened. I focused on my plate like the rice needed emotional support. Logan leaned back against the counter, expression unreadable. I remember things. Noah gave him a look. Apparently, Mrs. Carter turned around with a serving spoon in her hand. Noah, stop interrogating your brother. He just got home. I am not interrogating. You are using your suspicious voice. I do not have a suspicious voice. Logan finally smiled, but it did not reach his eyes. I knew because he looked at me right after, and the smile faded. Later, we ended up in the living room with the game on, same as always. Noah sat in the armchair this time, which left the couch to me and Logan. I almost sat on the floor. That would have been insane. So I sat on the far end like a completely normal adult having a completely normal breakdown. Logan sat on the other end. Too much space. Somehow still not enough. Halfway through the second quarter, Noah went to take a call from work. The second he left, the room felt smaller. Logan kept his eyes on the TV. He knows something is off. Nothing is off. My voice sounded pathetic even to me. Logan turned his head. Evan. I hated how one word could undo me. Do not. Do not what? Say my name like that when he is in the next room. His expression changed. The air left the room. For a second, I thought he might apologize. Instead, he looked toward the hallway, then back at me. I am trying. That was worse. My heart started pounding. Trying what? Logan's hand rested on the couch between us. Not reaching. Not touching. Just there. His fingers flexed once against the cushion. To remember why this is complicated. Before I could breathe, Noah came back in. His eyes dropped immediately to the space between us, to Logan's hand, to my face. Then he sat down slowly. What did I miss? Nothing, I wanted to say. Absolutely nothing. But Logan pulled his hand back, and somehow that looked more guilty than touching me would have. After Noah came back into the living room, nobody said anything strange. That was what made it worse. The game kept playing. His mom brought in extra napkins. Someone's phone buzzed on the coffee table. Logan leaned back into the couch like nothing had happened, except his jaw stayed tight, and he did not look at me again for almost 20 minutes. I tried to act normal too. I laughed when Noah yelled at the referee. I checked my phone for no reason. I drank half a soda I did not even want. But my whole body still felt aware of the space where Logan's hand had been. Not touching me. Almost touching me. Pulled away like it burned. Around halftime, Mrs. Carter asked Noah to grab something from the garage. He groaned, but went, because nobody said no to her twice. I stood up too fast. I should head out. Logan looked over then. Finally, Noah paused near the hallway. Already. Early shift tomorrow. That was true. It was also an escape route. Noah squinted at me, but his mom called his name again, and he disappeared toward the garage. I grabbed my jacket from the back of the chair. My fingers were clumsy with the zipper. Logan stood too. I will walk you out. I almost laughed, but it would have sounded terrible. You do not have to keep doing that. I know. He grabbed his keys from the side table anyway. Outside, the porch light buzzed softly above us. The night smelled like cut grass and cold pavement. I walked down the steps before he could say anything, because standing still near Logan had become a dangerous hobby. Evan. I stopped at the sidewalk. Not because I wanted to, because my body apparently belonged to him when he said my name like that. Logan came down the steps slowly. He did not crowd me. That somehow made it harder. You are leaving because of me. I turned around. I am leaving because I have work. His eyes held mine. Tired. Careful. Too honest. You are a bad liar when you are hurt. The words hit too close. I looked toward the street. A car passed at the end of the block, headlights sliding over us and disappearing. I am not hurt. Okay. He nodded once, but he did not believe me. Then I am. That made me look back. Logan rubbed a hand over his mouth, like he was annoyed with himself for saying it out loud. For the first time since he came home, he looked less controlled. Less like Noah's confident older brother and more like a guy standing on a porch at night, trying not to ruin something. I hate this, he muttered. What? My voice came out small. He looked at the house, then at me, pretending I am not noticing you. My chest tightened so hard I had to breathe through it. Logan gave a short laugh, but there was nothing funny in it. I came back thinking everything here would feel the same. My room. My mom. Noah being Noah. His gaze dropped for a second, then came back up. Then you were on the couch, and you looked at me like I was still someone you were trying to survive. I could not move. I could barely think. Logan, I know. He stepped back half an inch, like even my saying his name was too much. I know why this is complicated. Noah is my brother. You are his best friend. I am not trying to make your life harder. Then why are you? I did not mean it to sound like that. Sharp. Scared. Honest. Logan took it anyway. His face softened, and that was worse than if he had gotten defensive. Because I did not want you to leave tonight. The porch went quiet. Not awkward quiet. Heavy quiet. The kind where everything you do not say starts breathing between you. I stared at him, and all the lies I had been using on myself started falling apart. It was not just me. It was not an old crush. It was not a hand brushing mine by accident. Logan was standing right there, telling me the thing I had been too afraid to even hope. You cannot say stuff like that, I whispered. I know. No, you do not. My pulse was hammering now. You say it, and then I have to go sit next to Noah and act like I am not thinking about it. Like I am not lying to my best friend every time I look at you. Logan swallowed. His eyes flicked toward the window, where Noah's shadow moved somewhere inside the house. When he looked back, his voice was lower. Do you want me to stop? I should have said yes. That was the right answer. The safe one. Instead, I stood there with my hands shaking in my jacket pockets and said nothing. Logan nodded slowly, like my silence had answered him. He did not smile. He did not move closer. He just looked at me like the truth had finally made things worse and better at the same time. I do not want to go back to normal, he said. My breath caught. Before I could answer, the front door opened behind him. Noah stepped onto the porch with a confused look and a socket wrench in his hand. Why are you two standing out here like somebody died? Logan turned first. I looked down too late. Noah's eyes narrowed. And for the first time, I was sure he saw something. Noah looked between us for maybe 3 seconds. It felt longer. Long enough for my brain to build an entire disaster. Long enough to picture him figuring it out, getting angry, asking how long I had been lying to him. But then his face changed into that lazy, suspicious look he used whenever he thought someone had stolen his leftovers. Seriously, what is happening? Logan slid his hands into his pockets. Calm. Too calm. Evan was leaving. In the middle of a conversation? Noah's eyes moved to me. I hated how well he knew me. We were not really talking. I managed. Terrible. Even I would not have believed me. Noah opened his mouth, but Mrs. Carter called from inside, asking if he found the wrench. He looked annoyed, then pointed it at both of us. This is weird. I am coming back to it. Then he disappeared inside. The door shut. I let out a breath I did not know I was holding. Logan turned toward me, but I was already stepping back. I have to go. His face tightened. Evan. No, my voice cracked just enough to make me hate myself. Not right now. I walked home instead of letting him drive me. 8 blocks in the cold, pretending the air was the reason my eyes burned. My phone buzzed twice before I reached my apartment. First from Noah. You okay? Then from Logan. I am sorry. I stared at that one for way too long. Sorry for what? For saying it? For almost getting caught? For making me hope? I did not answer either of them. The next morning, I woke up feeling like I had been carrying something heavy in my sleep. I told myself space would fix it. Space was mature. Space was responsible. Space lasted until lunch, when Noah showed up at the bookstore with 2 sandwiches and the expression of a man about to be annoying on purpose. You are avoiding me. I kept rearranging a display of used thrillers. I am working. You are putting the same book in 3 different places. I looked down. He was right. I hated that. Noah leaned against the counter, studying me. Did Logan say something to you? My stomach tightened so fast I almost dropped the book. Why would you ask that? Because he has been acting like somebody kicked his dog, and you look like you are one loud noise away from leaving the state. I forced a laugh. It came out wrong. Noah's face softened a little, and that was worse than suspicion. Evan, if he is being weird with you, tell me. There it was. The door opening. The chance to say something honest. Instead, I looked at my hands and lied again. He is not. It is just weird having him back. Noah watched me for a second. Yeah, he muttered. It kind of is. After he left, I felt sick with guilt. Not because anything had happened. Not really. That was the problem. Nothing had happened, but everything felt like it had. By Friday, I had successfully avoided Logan for 4 days. I switched shifts. I ignored Noah's invites. I even walked the long way home so I would not pass the Carter house, which was pathetic and I knew it. Then I saw Logan through the coffee shop window downtown. He was sitting across from a woman with short dark hair and a silver ring on her thumb. She touched his wrist while laughing. Logan smiled back. Not huge. Not romantic, probably. But enough. Enough to make my chest go cold. I stopped on the sidewalk like an idiot, holding a bag of groceries and staring through glass at something I had no right to care about. Of course. Of course there was someone else. Maybe she was from Seattle. Maybe that was why he came home distracted. Maybe all those looks, all those almost moments, were just Logan being confused for a week in his old hometown. Maybe I had turned a few kind gestures into a whole story because I wanted one so badly. I stepped back before he could see me. My phone buzzed 5 minutes later. Logan, can we talk? I stared at the screen until it blurred. Then I did something small and cowardly. I turned my phone face down and kept walking. That night, Noah called twice. I did not pick up. Logan texted once more. Please do not disappear on me. That message hurt more than it should have. Because part of me wanted to believe him. The other part kept seeing his hand under hers in that coffee shop, his smile, his calm face, and all I could think was that maybe I had mistaken being noticed for being wanted. By Sunday evening, I was closing the bookstore alone when the bell over the door rang. I looked up from the register, ready to tell whoever it was that we were closed. Logan stood there in a dark jacket, rain in his hair, breathing like he had walked fast. For a second, neither of us spoke. Then his eyes dropped to my phone on the counter, screen down, ignored for days. His jaw tightened. You saw me with Claire. My throat went dry. I hated that my face answered before I did. Logan exhaled softly, almost like it hurt. Evan. I shook my head once. Do not. She is a friend from Seattle. You do not owe me an explanation. The words came out sharp. Logan flinched anyway. Not dramatic. Just enough to show they landed. He stepped closer, then stopped himself halfway, like he remembered I might run. Maybe I want to give you one. I looked away because looking at him made me weaker. Why? The store went quiet around us. Old lights. Rain tapping the front window. My heart pounding like it wanted out. Logan's voice dropped. Because I hate that you thought I regretted this. I finally looked at him. Do you? His face changed. Opened. Hurt, maybe. No, one word. No hesitation. That should have made everything easier. It did not. Because wanting him was one thing. Trusting that wanting him would not cost me my best friend was another. Logan took one more careful step forward. I am scared too. My breath caught. He swallowed, eyes holding mine. But not of you. Logan's words stayed in the air between us. I am scared too. But not of you. For a second, I did not know what to do with that. It sounded too honest for the bookstore. Too big for a place with crooked shelves and a register that jammed every other day. I looked down at the counter because his face made it harder to breathe. Claire is engaged, Logan added quietly. She came down to help me figure out a job offer. That is all. I nodded, but it felt stiff. Okay. No, his voice changed. Not louder. Firmer. Not okay. You disappeared for 4 days. I let out a humorless laugh. You noticed? Logan stared at me like I had said something ridiculous. Evan. There it was again. My name, soft enough to hurt. Of course I noticed. My fingers pressed against the edge of the counter. I did not know what else to do. He moved one step closer. This time, I did not move back. You could have answered me. And said what? I finally looked up. That I saw you with someone and got jealous even though I had no right to be. That I felt stupid because nothing has even happened between us. But somehow it still feels like I am betraying Noah every time you look at me. Logan went still. The words came out faster now, messy and too real, but I could not stop them. You get to be his brother. I get to be his best friend. Those are safe things. Those are things that make sense. This? I gestured between us, small and helpless. This does not make sense. Logan's eyes dropped to my hand, then back to my face. It makes sense to me. My chest tightened. Do not say that just because I am upset. I am saying it because I am tired of pretending it does not. The store went quiet. Rain dragged thin lines down the front window. Somewhere in the back, the old heater clicked on, loud enough to make me blink. Logan took another step, then stopped at the other side of the counter, leaving that narrow strip of wood between us like a rule neither of us trusted. I have tried to talk myself out of this every day since I got back. His fingers curled lightly against the counter. I told myself you were Noah's friend. I told myself you probably just had an old crush, and I was reading into it. I told myself I should stay away from the bookstore. His mouth twitched, not quite a smile. I am bad at that part. I wanted to laugh. I almost did. It came out as a shaky breath. You really are. Logan's gaze softened, and for once he did not hide it. But every time I saw you, it got harder to act normal. My throat worked. No words came. He looked down at his hands. When Noah walked out on the porch, I hated that my first thought was not that we got caught. He looked back at me. It was that I had not said enough yet. That broke something in me. Not all the way. Just enough for the truth to slip through. I have liked you since I was 17. Logan's face changed. His eyebrows pulled together, like the number physically hit him. I rushed on before he could misunderstand. Not like this. Not then. It was dumb and quiet and embarrassing, and I grew out of it. I thought I did. I swallowed. Then you came home. Logan did not speak for a moment. He just looked at me, and there was no joke in his eyes now. No easy older brother smile. Just Logan. Present. Careful. A little wrecked. I did not come home looking for this, he murmured. Neither did I. But it is here. My pulse was loud in my ears. Yeah. One word. It felt like stepping off a curb without knowing how far the ground was. Logan's hand shifted on the counter, palm turning slightly upward. Not reaching for me. Not asking out loud. Just there. A choice. I stared at it. Such a small thing. A hand on a counter in an empty bookstore. But my whole body reacted like it was a door opening. If I touch you, I whispered. I do not think I can keep pretending this is nothing. Logan's voice was low. I do not want it to be nothing. I looked at him then. Really looked. The tired eyes. The rain in his hair. The way he was holding himself back because he knew this mattered. Because he knew Noah mattered too. Slowly, I put my hand over his. His fingers closed around mine, warm and steady. Not tight. Just enough. The second our hands fit together, both of us went quiet. The room did too. No thunder. No music. No big movie moment. Just my hand in his, and the terrifying relief of not pulling away. Logan exhaled like he had been holding that breath for a week. His thumb moved once over my knuckles. We have to tell him. My stomach dropped, but I did not let go. I know. Not tonight if you are not ready. I am never going to be ready. That got a small smile out of him. Fair. I looked down at our hands, then back at him. But I do not want to lie forever. Logan's grip tightened for half a second. Neither do I. The bell above the door rattled lightly in the wind, and we both looked toward it like guilty idiots, even though no one came in. When I turned back, Logan was still watching me. Not like he was waiting for permission to cross another line. Like this one already meant enough. I squeezed his hand once. We start with not running. His smile was quiet. Real. I can do that. And for the first time since he came home, normal was not the thing I wanted back. We did not tell Noah that night. We almost did. We stood outside the bookstore after closing, Logan's truck parked by the curb, my hand still feeling the shape of his even after we let go. For a while, neither of us moved. The rain had slowed to that misty kind that barely counted, but Logan still opened the passenger door for me like I might melt if I got damp. I gave him a look. I can open a door. His mouth curved. I know. You just enjoy being annoying. Also true. It should have felt awkward after everything we admitted. Somehow it did not. It felt quieter, like the truth had stopped banging around inside my ribs and finally sat down. Logan drove me home, and this time, I did not stare at the windshield pretending I was fine. I watched his hand on the wheel, watched the way he glanced over at red lights like he wanted to make sure I was still there. When we pulled up outside my apartment, he turned the truck off. That made my stomach flip, not in a scared way, in a here we are way. Tomorrow, he murmured. I knew what he meant. Noah. The conversation. The part where this stopped being something hidden in bookstore aisles and porch shadows. I nodded, even though my throat felt tight. Tomorrow. Logan looked at me for a long second. I am not going to let you do it alone. That was the sentence that stayed with me. Not some huge confession. Not a dramatic promise. Just that. I am not going to let you do it alone. The next evening, I almost backed out 7 times before getting to the Carter house. I sat in my car across the street with both hands on the steering wheel, breathing like I was about to walk into a courtroom. Then Logan stepped out onto the porch. He did not wave me over. He did not rush me. He just stood there in a gray hoodie, hands in his pockets, waiting. Like he had all the time in the world. So I got out. Halfway up the walkway, Noah opened the front door behind him with a bag of chips in one hand. Why are you both being creepy on the lawn? My heart stopped. Logan turned first. Calm, but not hiding. We need to talk to you. Noah's face changed. The joking dropped away. He looked at Logan, then me, then Logan again. Okay. We ended up in the kitchen because everything important in that house somehow happened there. Mrs. Carter was out with friends, which felt like mercy. Noah leaned against the counter, arms crossed, trying to look casual and failing. I sat at the table. Logan did not sit across the room. He sat beside me. Not too close. Just close enough. My knee brushed his under the table, and this time, neither of us moved away. Noah saw it. Of course he did. His eyes lowered, then lifted slowly. Oh, my stomach dropped. Noah. He held up one hand, staring at the floor like he was doing math he hated. Give me a second. So we did. 1 second became 10. The fridge hummed. A car passed outside. My hands were cold in my lap. Logan's fingers touched the edge of my sleeve under the table. Barely there. Enough to keep me from floating away. Noah finally looked at me. How long? It has been weird since he came home, I answered, because lying felt impossible now. But for me, maybe longer. Noah's jaw tightened. Not angry exactly. Hurt. Confused. You could have told me. That landed harder than anything else. I know. My voice cracked a little, and I hated it. I was scared. Noah looked at Logan. And you? Logan did not dodge it. Same. Noah gave a short laugh with no humor in it. Great. Very mature. Both of you silently panicking around my tacos. I almost laughed. It came out shaky. Noah looked between us again, and his expression softened just a little, even though he clearly did not want it to. Are you serious about this? Logan's hand came up onto the table then. Open. Visible. Not hiding anymore. He did not grab me. He just placed it there. A choice again. My chest tightened. Slowly, I put my hand in his. Noah watched it happen. I expected him to look away. He did not. Logan's fingers closed around mine, steady and warm. Yeah, Logan answered. I am. I looked at Noah. Me too. Noah rubbed both hands over his face. This is so weird. Yeah, I whispered. I know. I am not saying I love it. Fair. And if either of you makes Thanksgiving unbearable, I am moving to another family. Logan nodded seriously. Reasonable. Noah pointed at him. Do not older brother voice me right now. That did it. I laughed. Logan did too, quiet and relieved, and after a second, Noah's mouth twitched like he was trying not to join us. He shook his head, still processing, still uncomfortable, but not leaving. That mattered more than if he had said the perfect thing. Later, Logan walked me out to the porch. Same porch, same steps, same street. But everything felt different because this time, I did not have to pretend I was only leaving Noah's house. Logan stood beside me, shoulder brushing mine. You okay? I looked through the window at Noah in the kitchen, eating chips straight from the bag like his life had not just gotten complicated. I think so. Logan's hand found mine in the space between us. No hiding behind a counter. No almost. No pulling away when headlights passed. Just his fingers between mine under the porch light. So, he said, voice softer now. Can I take you on an actual date? I turned my head. That was terrible timing. Probably. Also yes. His smile came slow. Real. The kind I used to look for from across rooms when I was younger and too scared to name what I wanted. This time, I did not look away. We did not have everything figured out. Noah still needed time. Logan and I still had to learn what we were outside of glances, old memories, and nearly missed moments. But as we walked down the steps together, hand in hand, I realized love did not always arrive like some huge confession. Sometimes it came back home quietly, stood in a doorway, remembered your coffee order, and waited until you were brave enough to stop calling it nothing.